So Supriya, what inspired you to start your journey into this F&B industry?
But frankly, we were not very satisfied.
Bento B, I think India's first vegetarian diner.
But I have not found a standalone Japanese vegetarian restaurant anywhere.
As a visitor also, most of the times we have this question that if we are going to certain restaurants, what if they are actually serving fresh food?
It was actually a struggle to manage the crowd more than struggle to get the crowd.
Certain age group prefers Japanese food or Korean food.
I was super surprised.
Welcome to Unscripted with Kena Shah, powered by Shankus Season 1. Our today's guest is the co-founder of Bento B, Ahmedabad का सबसे loved Japanese restaurant, because यहाँ पे sushi सिर्फ खाना नहीं but एक experience भी देता है. और सिर्फ यही नहीं, Blockheads और Nobaru जैसे different diners भी introduce किए हैं. Please welcome Supriya, co-founder of Blockheads, Bento B and Nobaru. Hi Supriya, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much,
Please have
Kena.
a seat.
Thanks.
So Supriya, what inspired you to start your journey into this F&B industry?
It's an interesting story. I think, I'm very fond of food, and me and my partner, we sort of go to a couple of places out in Ahmedabad. But frankly, we were not very satisfied. We would just go to 2 or 3 places and not go to other places often.
Right.
And when he was studying in the US, in general, we're very fond of Japanese culture.
Okay.
So, we used to go to a lot of Japanese restaurants in the US also, for that matter, and, not the American places. And we thought, why not start something like this in Ahmedabad? Why do we not have something like this?
Yeah.
And we both are Marwadis. We have a sort of, hospitality is in our blood, basically. So we're not trained in hospitality, but we thought, let's start something of our own.
Right.
I don't know, it's something back of your head that you should have a small
passionate
space.
about food is what you're trying to say.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I mean, food, and especially good food.
Good food, yeah.
So we're not foodies who would go out and eat anything and everything, but I'm a little finicky also.
Yeah, very picky, and you like to have something, which is very eco-friendly because of the person that I have known you.
Yes.
You're very
Yes.
picky and very, like you need certain things certain way.
100%.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
No, of course.
But
yeah.
that is true. So, when we were setting up the place also, we were very particular how it should look.
Yes.
How it should sound, the kind of furniture we're going to use, the kind of plates we're going to use, the kind of food we're going to have, the kind of service we're going to have, the kind of acoustics we'll have. So everything was pretty well thought about.
So when you started with Bento B, right, and other diners, so what was there in your mind? Like, what do you really love about Japanese culture?
Well, there are a lot of things about Japanese culture which are quite different and quite inspiring, frankly. So one is their attention to detail.
Yeah.
So even a simple thing, even if they're serving a bowl of rice, the way they will plate it, the way they will put it, and the way they will eat it, so they believe in eating every morsel mindfully. That's why they use chopsticks, right? So they will eat little bit so that they don't overeat.
Yeah.
And that's a kind of detailing. When they even serve ramen, so there's something called ramen in Japan, which is very famous.
I love ramen. I'm a big fan of ramen.
So if you have noticed something, a ramen never comes like a Maggi noodle, right?
Yeah.
It always comes plated. There's always a painting on the top of it.
Yes.
So the chef will put the mushroom like this, the broccoli like this, he'll put the plate.
It's very decorated beautifully. And that's why you just feel like, I don't want to wait till it gets cold. I'll just start having it,
In fact, supposed to have it hot.
Hot, yeah.
So, but I'm glad you what I mean.
I love Bento B's food because I have been a legit fan of Bento B, and since the time you have started it, I wasn't knowing you before, but and I wasn't even knowing that Bento B belongs to you.
Right.
One of my friends introduced me to Bento B, and the first time I had sushi, and Supriya, you won't believe, I literally started loving sushi because of Bento B.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, because it's the softness, the perfect, perfect taste, the perfect balance of ingredients is what you really love about Japanese food, right? No, definitely. So how did this idea of Bento B, and for to say, Bento B, I think is India's first vegetarian diner.
I'm not sure if it's the first vegetarian, but I don't know any other.
Yeah.
So I've traveled a little bit in Goa. I've been to a couple of restaurants in Delhi, Bangalore, Bombay. I've been to a few places, but I have not found a standalone Japanese vegetarian restaurant anywhere.
Right.
Forget India, across the world, I'm saying.
Oh, that's
I've traveled
great.
to a few countries also, and I don't recall that there was a particular Japanese vegetarian restaurant. I haven't come across yet.
Okay.
So I'm not sure about the statistics, but we did it. It was an interesting story again. We did it because we wanted to be in the complex, which is 142. And the person who owns the building, they're very particular about their preferences. And he said, we can only do a restaurant as long as it's vegetarian.
Vegetarian food, yeah. Right.
So, but it really worked out well for us. Because Japanese is primarily a seafood, non-vegetarian, cuisine.
Yeah.
So finding out all the vegetarian recipes and sort of, putting them together and serving it in Ahmedabad.
Would have been very difficult initially, because basically it's known, Japanese is known more for non-vegetarian meals, right?
100%. So this happened, a lot of times people would walk in and they're like, oh, Japanese, so do you have like, I'm so happy I'm going to have fish today. I'm so happy I'm going to have prawns today. And we're like, sorry, sir, this is vegetarian. And he's like, what?
Oh.
So 100%, even when we spoke to our chef, because our chef comes with an experience of non-veg food primarily.
Yeah.
And we said, we are doing a restaurant which is going to serve only vegetarian. And he was like, what? I'm not making fish and all.
Yeah.
So it was a little surprising, but it was also a bit of an interesting challenge that we took up as.
Yeah.
And luckily it worked very well for us.
Very well for us. So how did you come up with this name Bento B? Because Bento, as per my research, right, it says that bento is in Japan, it is like bento is a meal that has compartments, right? And especially it has rice.
Absolutely.
Right. So was that the basic, connotation?
So rice is in general the basic a primer for most dishes in Japan. Like rice is something that they grow a lot, but other than that we thought of bento box because we wanted to give a comprehensive experience to people in Ahmedabad. And it's kind of similar to a thali system. So in thali you have a mix of flavors, a mix of textures.
Yes.
You have your roti, sabzi, dal, chawal. So similarly a bento box is a mix of Japanese cuisines.
Yeah.
So it could have rice, it could have noodles, it could have salads, it could have vegetables, it could have fruits. So it's a very balanced meal.
It's a very light meal also.
It is light.
You don't feel like bloated, you don't feel tired, but you just feel like, okay, it's good to the taste.
I think it's a very clean meal.
It's a clean
Japanese
meal.
meal is very clean. It doesn't have too many ingredients, unlike a lot of Indian cuisine.
Right.
Not too much processing also.
Okay.
So we eat things as it is. The sauces, the ingredients are very light.
Yeah,
it's not a very heavy carb kind of a diet. It's actually good in proteins, a lot of vegetables. So it invariably makes it a very healthy cuisine.
Right. And also I've seen your menu, it's very crisp. It's not too long, not too short. That defines that you're very specific about what you are serving to your guests, right? So what do you have to say about that?
Well, it's a very interesting question, Kena, I would say. So, we could have had an elaborate menu for that matter. But keeping few items is, first of all, it was very new for the people, right? So people who were coming, they didn't know much about Japanese food anyway. And if I put a bulky menu, they'll be confused, right? Also, we wanted to serve very few limited items to keep the freshness of it alive. Because if we keep too many items, then I have to keep a lot of inventory. But I wanted to keep fewer items, but fresh stuff. So that was the whole idea of keeping.
So this is also one of the way how we are managing waste.
That's an interesting question. Well, managing waste is a very interesting question when it comes to restaurant industry, because no matter how much you do, it's not easy to manage all of it.
Yeah.
But yes, we try to keep our waste minimum. We try to sort of,
serve fresh food.
Absolutely. So we don't keep a lot of stuff lying in the stock. We get fresh stuff, we serve it, and it's almost done. So we have, of course, now it's been 4 years, so we can plan our inventory accordingly. We only get the stuff. Of course, there are other things like rice and, sauces, which do not go bad, and vegetables we get fresh. So there are very few. The idea is to minimize waste than to manage it, I would say.
Because, as a visitor also, most of the times we have this question that if we are going to certain restaurants, what if they are actually serving the, fresh food? So already you are tapping the niche market. The niche cuisine.
I would like to tap all the market.
So how was it acceptable here? Because it was very new and people were not even knowing about Japanese food. So what were your struggles and how did you manage, to actually make people understand about this cuisine?
We were happily surprised, Kena. We didn't struggle in this part actually. We had, of course, we were a little crazy to start a Japanese vegetarian restaurant in Ahmedabad, but we were happily surprised by the response.
Okay.
So I think I would compliment the city for this because they love to experiment.
Okay.
So
Definitely.
If there's anything new, there are these, bunch of kids who are like, hey, something new has started. Let's go try this and all that. Also, there's this influencer culture now.
Yes.
So I think that also helps. People want to come try new places, put that on Instagram, and there'll be a buzzing point about it.
Yeah.
I think that helps.
Yeah.
And luckily, what happened to us was that there are these very popular bloggers called Rocky and Mayur. So they do highway on my plate. They are a nationally popular bloggers. So just about 2-3 days of our opening, they came to a restaurant and they put it on their reel and it became viral. Okay, and it became kind of viral, and people from different cities are calling me, oh, there's a Japanese vegetarian restaurant happening in Ahmedabad.
And then you had to inform them, this is my restaurant.
Absolutely.
Please visit.
100%. So there were people, in fact, there were people queuing up. Like first 2-3 months, we could not manage the crowd. There were so many people out there.
Okay.
So it was a good experience. I mean, so it was actually a struggle to manage the crowd more than struggle to get the crowd.
That's what as an entrepreneur would always want to have, no?
I mean, absolutely. Why not?
So what was, like, do you remember any, like very heartfelt message that a visitor gave it to you as a feedback? And many. Can you share
Even
one or two?
100%. That's I would love to share one particular experience that everybody in my team, like, we get emotional when we hear this, and you'll not believe this, Kena. So there was a lady who was pregnant, okay? So she had a big tummy. She was about 5-6 months pregnant, and she would come regularly to Bento B. So one of the apprehensions a lot of people have, that do you serve MSG or not, right? Okay. Pregnant people avoid that. So we don't serve that, right? So a lot of women would come. And this particular lady, one day she comes to Bento B and she's like, Supriya, my baby is not making a sound. So I miss the kicks of the baby. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, but I know that he or she really likes sushi a lot. So whenever I come to this place, this guy gets happy. I'm like, okay. So then she comes and she dines with us and she grabs a sushi in her mouth, and then after some time she smiles at me and I'm like, oh my gosh.
That happened. The kick happened.
The kick happened. And she's like, this kid reacts to the sushi. And the kid
so emotional. No, I'm also having goosebumps right now. I'm listening to that. Yeah.
I've seen so many dates happening there. So one of the times I was just standing, and in the courtyard we serve sushi, right?
Yeah.
So there's this lady, very beautiful lady, and a guy sitting. He was on the chair. The lady knelt down. So the lady knelt down and she's offering him a ring and was proposing with a sushi on the table. And I was like, that is so sweet. So many dates, many guests coming, from abroad. They are bringing their guests to our place. Many farewells, many birthday parties.
So you have been part of their happiness, since so many years now.
That's like the best part of Bento B, the best part.
Yes, and also the interior, when we talk about Bento B, and while I'm recalling my experience that I had at Bento B, was amazing. What's fabulous in terms of everything, you literally feel that you have brought that culture over here. Because of the interiors, because of the interior, the soothing lights, the sitting arrangements, and how everything is served. Like when we talk about the competition in this industry, so do you think this is one of the things that makes you stand out from others?
Possible. I think it's quite possible because I see a lot of people mostly focusing on the food, and they try to bring a lot of other elements to make the place look luxurious or different or something. We chose to go authentic in terms of the interiors.
Follow the roots, basically.
I would say we wanted to follow the rules of how the Japanese cuisine is served, basically.
Yeah, the basic roots. Yeah.
So not just the food, but the space also has to look like you're sitting in a sweet cafe in Japan, right? Yeah. So we got those very panels. We got those Japanese panels over there. We got some anime and manga thing drawn and pasted over there. The mats were very Japanese in the sense. The crockery and the cutlery, we got it very, we imported a lot of stuff. So that was also very Japanese in its look. So the entire experience, we tried to give it as if you're sitting in Japan.
Yeah.
So I think that worked. It was very minimalistic, I would say. We didn't go overboard. It was very minimalistic.
But that is how the culture of Japan is, right?
Absolutely.
So that's why you wanted to inherit those kind of feelings in the experience.
I mean, so that's exactly where it aligns, because me and Amit, like who's my partner, both of us like basically things, food, everything minimalistic. And that is what has drawn us to Japanese culture.
Yeah.
And we wanted to bring that in the entire experience. Yeah. See, food to us is an experience.
Yes.
And the experience encompasses everything. Yeah. Whether it is the lighting of the space, whether it's the sound, whether it's the service, the smile of the person who greets you. So that's what
feel like you are important to us. Atithi Devo Bhava.
But they are important to us. It's not about making them feel. They actually are important to us. I would say service and food go hand in hand. And this really matters, because when I sometimes go to a certain restaurant, I'm very particular. How is this thing made? Like whatever you call, if it's a ganache or it's a whatever fajita. Like how do you make it? Like, what goes into it? Is there allergies or not? And it's very important. I mean, that's the job of a service staff, right? They're supposed to know what's going on, talk to the guest, make them comfortable, explain them about the food. And also it's about, Kena, it's not about clients all the time. It's also about the service people learning and growing in life. I don't want them to be doing the same thing again and again.
Yeah.
I want them to learn, learn about Japan, learn about the culture there, know what they're doing, enjoy what they're doing, follow their own style. So there is no set template that everybody has to behave like this. So I will let XYZ behave in certain way. So B is very talkative, I'll say you be chatty. C is very quiet, I'm like you be like that, but be kind to the clients. So that's the whole idea.
And also it's very important, Supriya, as an entrepreneur, right, to explain your staff or people whom you're associated with, to explain what your vision is and what kind of a person you are, because that is going to reflect the service or maybe whatever industry you are into. And it's very important that rather than being authoritative and explaining ye aise hi karna hai, ye aise service deni hai, just like the way you are, giving that open hand to the staff, it really makes a lot of difference, and it also speaks a lot about you as a person.
You're very kind, Kena, but but I'll tell you what. See, I told you, right? We don't have a hospitality experience.
Yeah.
So our job was to learn from them actually. So most of them are trained people. So they all come from a very, 5-star background, most of them. So we wanted them to sort of be themselves and serve the way they wanted. So we actually started learning from them. So that was the whole idea. And like you said, Ki, we never told them you have to do this or that, but they just followed the vision of being, kind to the customers, and that worked. Right. So yeah.
And also, if I am a regular visitor, okay, at Bento B or any of your diners, right? So how do you face challenges? Like if I am the regular visitor, I know these are the items that is going to be served here, right? And what about somebody who is new and who wants to explore certain different things on the menu, right? So how do you deal with these kind of challenges?
So first of all, it's not very challenging, but it's the core of being in the hospitality. So the people who are coming regularly, they are coming regularly because they like it, right? So I don't have to put in a lot of efforts there. But especially for people coming in new, and that's majority of people in Ahmedabad. So in fact, a lot of people were even hesitated coming to Bento B ki jayenge to pata hi nahi chalega kya order karna hai, right?
I wanted to ask you this, but I'll allow you to finish.
Even today, Kena, the funny thing is, after Japanese, we started Korean palette also, right?
Yes, that's Nobaru, right?
that's Nobaru, right?
Yeah.
And I can't pronounce all the items because Korean is so difficult, right? So it's jajangmyeong, yachinchong, and
you just have to ask before you order ki isme aayega kya.
100%.
And even after listening to what he's saying, you just feel like, oh, okay, I don't know anything about the ingredients, bring it. Kaun sa acha hai?
And that is what prompted us to tell the service people to be very careful of what they're knowing, right?
Yeah.
So they really have to know exactly what all they're serving, how to describe it, how to talk to people. Achha, there are people, in Ahmedabad, there are people who are like, I want to eat Japanese, but Swaminarayan Japanese.
That's why
I want to have Japanese, but Jain. So I've told my team to be very particular about it and give enough time, be patient with every guest, no rushing. Of course, there will be some element of experiment for sure. Right? So even if a lot of people are trying it for the first time, sometimes you're not sure about the quantity, sometimes you're not sure of the flavors, but more or less people like it.
Like the personality that you have and your partner Amit, you both have, right? So is there any dish specifically named or maybe that completely talks about you?
That's very sweet. So we actually give all the credits to our chefs because they are the one who's panning it, right? So very interesting, Kena. So I'll tell you what, when a lot of people, so even after 4 years, people think that there's a lovely lady called Niriksha who's at Bento B. People think Niriksha owns Bento B. A lot of people think that, right? Or for that matter, people don't know who Supriya and Amit are. Because we are generally at the backside of
it.
There's a chef, Nirmal. So Nirmal has a peculiarity of making very good vegan food. And this is not now, for the last 10-15 years. So we know him for a very long time, and he makes vegan food. Vegan desserts, which is like walnut. He'll use walnuts, he'll use oat milk, he'll use no butter, no cream, nothing. And fantastic food. So we do Nirmal special. Or we do Chef Bachchan special. Amit and Supriya, I mean, we like everything. So.
Okay. And when you started, Supriya, like you mentioned earlier that, you don't belong to F&B industry, right? So what you wish someone would have told you back then,
Very interesting. So I guess we were not very comfortable how to manage waiting at that point of time. Sometimes even changing the recipes, we take a little bit of time because we're not from that industry. So
Yes.
that is also one thing. And somebody would have told us, would be, I would say, how to do your menu, make it more exciting, and how often do you change it? Right.
Yes,
So do you change
okay.
it 3 months, 6 months, 1 year? About the pricing also, for that matter. So things like this is something that we learned on the go. We were not very simple things like, we didn't even know what the cutleries are called. Right.
Okay.
So there's what the knives are called different, the spoons are called different. There is KOTs, there is sous chefs, a lot of jargons we didn't know.
Jargons, yeah.
Right. So I think these are the things that one should really pick up before you start a restaurant.
When it comes to when people are coming, having a first bite, okay, so do you have any like certain emotion attached to it when you are standing there? Bhale, it is a back end pe ho, right? So noticing everything, in the room, being that silent person. So how does it feel when you see emotions of people like just flowing when they are taking this first bite and like, oh, this is insane. This is exactly how I wanted my ramen to be, for example, right? So how do you deal with those kind of emotions?
Oh, it's beautiful. It's melting. In fact, can I tell you what? Like all the people who are dining at Bento B, I notice each one of them and I see myself in them. It's the same thing when I go to a certain restaurant. Let's say I go to Sri Lanka and we went to a very beautiful barefoot cafe or something there. And the first time I had some, appams there, like, the thing and the kind of experience, I'm like, oh my God, this is so good. This is beautiful experience, beautiful ambience. And I'm sitting there, there's rain happening and I'm having that, or having croissants in Goa, or having chole bhature in Delhi. So I just sit, watch. As long as they're happy, I don't interrupt. If I see them getting a little
So you
annoyed,
go and take some feedback so that you can also improve. And-
all the time, all the time. So
because that is the key on how to become more,
Absolutely.
successful in any business that you work.
I think so. I mean, business runs through people, right? I mean, we invest, but they are the people who make it run for us. So it's very important. So we don't go over, like, do too much of it also.
Yeah, but when it is needed.
Absolutely.
Only when it is needed.
Absolutely. So we'll just ask them, do you like it? How, without disturbing them, basically.
Yes.
So we just talk to them.
So 4 years, what is the boldest decision that you have taken, or maybe you had to take that leap? Yeah, are there any?
I think starting a vegetarian Japanese restaurant in Ahmedabad
And that too niche, na? Yeah.
itself. I mean, you're right. So there are mostly Asian restaurants, right?
Asian.
People play safe.
Yes.
They'll put Chinese also. Thai is very famous.
That's why I
They'll put
said your
Thai.
menu is very concrete to the point.
Absolutely. So even लोग को लगता है कि थोड़ा कुछ Asian मिल जाएगा, पर नहीं होता
नहीं
है.
होता है.
It's just Japanese vegetarian, right? So starting that itself was a bold decision, I would say.
Right.
Especially because the kind of place we were in is a little high end, right?
Right,
So
yeah,
the
yeah.
investment generally is a little high.
Yeah.
So that was a bold decision to begin with. But then also starting after just about 2 years, we started Baroda actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we started same Bento B in Baroda. We also did Nobaru. We also did Blockheads.
Blockheads, yeah.
I think this is all like, experimental.
So how do you differentiate Bento B, Nobaru and Blockheads?
They're very different actually. So Nobaru and Bento may be along the same lines, but Bento is just Japanese vegetarian. Nobaru is Korean.
Korean and Japanese.
So it's
Yes.
Korean and Japanese, veg and non-veg both.
Veg and non-veg
So we
both.
serve non-veg also there.
Okay.
And I think also that is in a university area. This is in a bit of a, slightly elite area. So I think that also kind of differentiates it. Blockheads is completely different. Blockheads is something, again, Amit is very fond of the blockhead, the jamming that happens in the US.
Okay.
So the US culture and all, so we sort of thought of bringing that, people talk about slow cafes.
Yeah,
so we
yeah.
wanted an analog cafe.
Yeah, so
where
that
you
is
go-
Blockhead, right?
That is
Yeah.
Blockheads.
Okay.
So it is something which is like, so we are very fond of music as well. So we're into music, athletics, fitness, food and all of that. And there's something called, our company is called 42.1, which is basically the marathon distance.
Interesting.
So we wanted a place which is serving healthy food,
Yeah.
and which has like very nice old school kind of music, not the digital music that we hear these days, but
Yeah.
very nice. And you sit there, immerse. It's like an ongoing concert all the time, right?
Right.
So you go there, listen to your music, have some pizza or a coffee on the side. So that was the whole idea. Yes. So
Why is that?
Yes. So we have done it a little bit of a black
Darkness?
and red darkness.
Yeah.
So it's like this, because if there is a lot of light, you're a bit conscious, right? But if it's a bit dingy, it gives you a cooling. You can be yourself. You can
Right.
listen to music. Be in that small den of yours.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea.
Okay. So is it like, I don't know if in this industry, if there is any, like specific target groups, like target audiences, like certain age group prefers Japanese food or Korean food. So are there specific age group only coming to these diners?
Oh, no. Everybody. Everybody.
So that is good. People are developing
100%.
taste.
I was super surprised. Like, so sushi is something which not everybody likes.
Exactly.
Okay?
Yeah.
So you may like noodles because it's familiar, right? You may like rice because it's familiar, but sushi is very different because especially of the nori that we put, right?
Yeah.
I've seen a 3-year-old kid sitting on a baby chair, a high chair, and gulping sushi. And that's amazing. We've had 90-year-old people also. I'm not kidding. We've had people coming on wheelchairs also. So
that's interesting.
All types of people, youngsters, elders, people of my age, everybody, and all ethnicities. So we have, of course, Gujaratis coming, we have Marwadis coming,
very
we have
diversified
Chinese,
culture,
Japanese. So basically, a lot of people now are liking and exploring Japanese and Korean food. And that's good.
That's very interesting to know, because a lot of people, like you mentioned, they are not okay with the taste. They feel like, it is very, it's not very spicy or maybe very bland.
So there are such people also. There are a lot of people like that who, and I'm surprised. So I have very close friends and they're like, हम नहीं आएंगे वहाँ पे क्योंकि हमको Japanese खाना अच्छा नहीं लगता है. They are very biased about that.
You have to develop that taste.
I know, right?
The taste that we develop for wine per se. So you have to develop that taste. So
100%.
my mom is not that
100%.
fan. So my dad is not fan of sushi. Right? And I love eating sushi. So I'll always have either my friends or my mom joining me for sushi because he feels that the taste is very bland and I can't eat.
Well, it depends. It actually, Japan has a very different taste called umami actually, right? So,
yes.
Okay, we might find it bland compared to our Indian cuisine.
But I still love.
But that's the whole point.
And also, do you think that by eating right, it affects your skin, the glow?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, why do you think the Korean beauty is going all berserk, right? I mean, look at the skin of Japanese people, Korean people. Look at their skin and hair, right? There's a reason why it's so.
Yes.
Because it absolutely matters what you're putting inside your body. So, it definitely matters.
Infrastructure and location important or plays an important role when it comes to F&B?
Good question. So I think location anyway plays important in any case, right? I mean, so there's a reason why we are sort of busy most of the time because of the accessibility to the place, first of all, right?
Yes.
I mean, very silly example, but if you go to a temple, you see like us temple se thoda sa 500 meter, 1 kilometer, there will be tons of shops selling puja ka saman, right? So, and most of them do well, right? I mean, or if you go to a college, you see a lot of stationery stores. So location matters, right? I mean, where you kind of put it, it also adds to the branding of your place. Definitely. So to us also, it was very important that it is spacious, it has good parking space, it is accessible, it's in the middle of a city. So that's how we chose the location. And I think it really matters. Whether you're on the ground floor or the first floor, whether you're on the front or on the back side, so all of this adds to it.
It really matters when it comes to F&B.
I mean, food matters the most. Food is on the top. So even if you are at the greatest location, but the food is not good, you won't work, right? So your food has to be the best, but the location adds too.
Right. And what are the licenses and legal compliances one needs to know before starting or getting into this field?
I mean, there are a couple of them. So you have to do a proper renting agreement. You have to go for your fire license. You have to go for a facile license. You have to go for municipality licenses. So there are a couple of licenses, F&B, like service licenses, what you're serving, food licenses, the quality of the food and everything. So you have to go through all the legalities and only then you can sort of start serving, right? The pricing, the ingredients, the GST part and all. So what all things...
It's a very lengthy process, no?
It's not very lengthy. It's thankfully a little better and you have people who help you with this. Okay. It takes its own sweet time, but it's not that bad. It's not that bad.
And according to your experience, right? So what do you suggest if, for example, I am thinking to open my own F&B, I want to get into this field, this industry, then should I be going solo or should I go for partnership model?
It totally depends, Kena. I mean, it totally depends. So I think... F&B industry is vast now and it's constantly changing
and it's evolving every day. It's like fashion. You need clothes, different clothes every day. You need different food and cuisine every day.
So I'll tell you what, like in our case, between me and Amit, it's very tricky because we have 4 restaurants right now, right? And we have a full-time job also. So I'm into NGO. He has a tech company. So, we have these Bento, Blockheads, Nobaru and all of this. We are still doing it by ourselves.
Yeah.
So we're now thinking of partners because we are going in different cities and all. But it's like when we put the menu and I see the logo on it, I see the design on it, I'm still like, I still try to control it a little bit, right?
You feel like it's your baby.
100%. So I'm not sure if there are more people, there will be more opinions, right? So as of now, we are preferring to go by ourselves. But it depends on what scale you want to start. So if you want to do a small cafe, if you want to do a small home baking kind of a thing or something, you want to cook from home, you want to do a cloud kitchen, you can do it by yourself, right? But if you feel comfortable with somebody who can help you, who can share the investment cost,
that would be great.
That would be great. If you're compatible, why not? In fact, in Ahmedabad, as much as I know, there are a lot of restaurants which work on partner models. So most of them are on a partner model, but it goes well. So it's fun.
So what is one of the hardest part being in this industry that no one is really talking about?
Well, I think most people who are in the industry know what are the hard parts.
Right.
What they're not talking about, I'm not sure, but there are two things which are difficult. One is the costs are very high.
Yes, I agree.
And second is, I think the staffing thing, I mean, the hours are very long. So, see, we work 7 days a week. Unlike most offices, there's no break.
There's no break.
Like from 12 p.m. in the afternoon till 11 p.m., we are open every single day, all 7 days, right? So it's a little taxing in terms of that. And when I start at 12 p.m., it means my team is already working half an hour and an hour before that, right? So even closing time, it is always 1 a.m., 2 a.m. every single day. So keeping your staff engaged and busy is not easy. That is one. And definitely the costs are quite high because you have a capital cost in the beginning and then you have running costs. Like every day you are sort of ingredients and rents and salaries and this and that. So that is difficult. But what not many people talk about is, after all this, Kena, sometimes, so I'm serving, let's say, good food for last 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, right?
Okay.
And one fine day, if someone spots a cockroach, right, or a hair, and they make a
fuss about it.
Not just fuss, they go put it on social media, it comes in newspaper, and they are like, Bento B is, God forbid, but this so-and-so restaurant is sealed and they serve bad food. That's really troubling. That's very really troubling.
That's true.
I mean, we are also humans, right? I mean, घर पे भी कभी आपका कुछ गलत हो जाता है. But don't go so berserk about it. I mean, we have given you good moments also. So be kind to us.
Kind to us,
No,
but thank you so much for your time. I really enjoyed. Hope you enjoyed.
Oh, I loved it. In fact, it was such a reflection time for me also.
Oh, thank you.